it's no secret. It's plain to see. I love you, and you love me. It's no secret. You know it's true. You love me. I love you. The only time we seem to meet is in the middle of the night. Only then can I feel your heartbeat. Till something's not right. Together I see you and me, always and all time. But not everyone would agree. To them it's a crime. It's no secret. It's plain to see. Yes, I love you, and you love me. And it's no secret. You know it's true. You love me. Yes, I love you.
Well, hello, Mama and Adam. This has been the most interesting 8 minutes, 15 minutes leading up to the show. So I come onto Fireside. Mercury's retrograde. Everybody, let's just start with everything. If you have a second, please share this out, Adam, and everybody watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. You're all on my iPad, and I have so much to say about the past 10 minutes. You're not on a stable uh, tripod or anything, so I need to be. This is like precarious circumstances. Hashtag first world problems over here. But I'm very grateful that you're here, and let's talk about what just happened and continue with the week. So, welcome, Adam, and everyone else. My name is Graciela Moore. This is Moon Magic and Mindfulness live on the Fireside Chat app. Also, YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing and liking. Send your questions and comments. But download Fireside Chat app so you can join the conversation live. That's what I'm most excited about. And in fact, Adam, I would love to catch up with you. So get ready. So Mercury is retrograde until the end of this week. And there's a lot happening with the astrology and the moonology of it all. But listen to what just happened. I scheduled the show earlier, as I do either Sunday or early Monday, and I share it out. And I did all of those steps earlier today. And when I come onto the app at around 9:45, right, to check on everything and to share it out again and whatnot, I realized that it's not there, like in the menu of upcoming things, right? And it wouldn't let me schedule it even before 10 p.m. And then it did schedule it for 10:15. And I'm like, no, but it's not at 10:15, right? It's at 10 p.m. every night, every Monday. And so I tried to do it, and it would be like failed attempt after failed attempt. And all I kept thinking about was Mercury retrograde, Mercury retrograde. And it was very, it just lasted forever. So I decided to try to start the episode straight from the options instead of scheduling it. And it wouldn't let me do that either. And then finally, I decided to switch and use the iPad and see if it would let me start. And then it started. Oh my goodness, what a trek right out of the gate. It's 10:11 and here we are. So thank you, Adam. I appreciate you being here and everybody else that tunes in. Thank you. Yes. So I normally have all of my notes on the iPad. Now we're going to use the phone for the music, for the meditation, and for all of the things. But let's get to it. And I'm excited because um, why am I excited? Moon Day, you know, possibilities. We just survived, if we want to call it that, right? The eclipse and the full moon, the flower moon of Friday. That was a great conversation last week when we talked about what am I creating with the wisdom of transformation. And I wanted to actually dive into some examples. I might even create some content around some of the simplest examples of what you creating something with the wisdom of transformation can look like a new habit and setting 31 days to really establish this new habit, right? Like one of the things I want to discuss today, there's a lot, so I need to really organize my thoughts because of the eclipse. We just went through two eclipses, right? A month apart or so, and all of the other planetary things happening. We have all of us, I feel like, that we agree that we have undergone a certain level of clarity or transformation, if you want to call it that. Scorpio has a lot to do with that. And so, stacking a new habit could be the way that you create something new with the wisdom of transformation. Maybe you decide to redecorate. In fact, oh my gosh, I don't know if you noticed, but Amy sent this to me in the mail, and I just feel so loved, and I'm so grateful for this. Um, Full moon on the water, and purple is one of my favorites. So thank you, Amy, for that. Um, do you just right, so are you deciding to redecorate? Maybe that's what you want to create or recreate. um the whole Mercury retrograde thing, we've also established that really opens up the door of the past so that you can make sense of a few things, right? Like retrospect or um going through the Mercury retrograde or any planetary retrograde, really kind of the way to really survive it or maneuver it with ease, if you will, or with grace, is to work with it instead of against it, right? We've talked about this. And so when these planets go in retrograde, it's an invitation to go into the past, or things from the past may be coming up, and how you are handling things in the present moment will have obviously a lot of impact in what happens next. And here's how these karmic cycles, if you want to call them that, or just endless lessons. And, why am I in this situation again? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Why am I in this situation again? That's the key word. And have you felt like you get a hint of clarity that says, I thought I had already learned this lesson. What's new in this right now that I need to look at? I don't know if you know about Dungeons and Dragons, but Dungeons and Dragons is coming to mind. And of course, I'm going to have to send this to a friend whom I know that loves Dungeons and Dragons because this might be for him, right? So this is going out for Joey. And so the thing about Dungeons and Dragons is that the game never ends, right? I mean, fantasy football, I guess there's a winner in the end, but with Dungeons and Dragons, there's always another story that can be created, a bigger monster that needs to be defeated, right? You keep leveling up, and there's a bigger castle, and I don't know, a more beautiful princess, and a bigger, more exciting dragon to fight, right? Um, and so that's how it is here. Some of the observations that we have also had is and this brings me to think that karmic cycles shouldn't be thought of as negative, the same way that all these retrogrades shouldn't be thought of as negative either. They should be thought of as an opportunity to look at things, to reevaluate, to redirect, to, really decide, recommit, so on and so forth, right? So, yeah, all of those things. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you're all here. What's coming up for me that teaches me about how far I've come in my journey? This is another question that was presented for the full moon last Friday. And let me tell you, I haven't finished it, but I am excited to finish it. And the reason why I didn't finish it this weekend is because I didn't know what to paint. We journal, we answer all of these questions on this show, and then we paint it black, and then we paint over it. This is one of my favorites because it's actually Rami Astro's picture of the moon with Jupiter and its moons, and then Saturn. And he makes these amazing composites and puts it all together so beautifully. And he was my guest last year. So, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. So, there's a lot journaled under there, right? And there's a lot journaled under here, and I didn't know what to paint over it, but now I have decided I am going to paint the hand painted flowers on Taylor Swift's piano on her concert, which I'm pretty sure she hand painted herself because she does that. And so there you go. I'm going to find the picture and I'm going to recreate them. They're not going to look the same, but I'll use the same color palette. And I'll do a little garden there. So I'm excited for that. And you're all excited to join me and send me, and I'll post and repost, and we can connect in that sense. And then, so what's coming up for me that teaches me about how far I've come in my journey? That question was very interesting as well, because some of the things that may be coming up may be guilt or self-blame, like just the seemingly harmless thought of, I don't know. I don't like to call myself names, right? But you're so dumb. You should have known better. Those words may have a lasting impact. And I feel like a lot of the planetary stuff that's happening that we haven't even started talking about because we started late and I'm still getting into it, right? And you're all getting here. So we're going to talk about it. But what's coming up may be that self-blame or guilt. Are you pondering committing to things or recommitting or planting seeds or establishing new patterns of actions because that's what you're creating with the wisdom of transformation? And how am I honoring the depth of my desires, emotions, and feelings? Am I speaking up about it? And that's really what I want to do right now. I want to speak up about what I need and what I desire. Am I honoring it by really making time for the things that I want to do? Am I honoring my emotions by holding space for them? Which means if I feel the physical chain of events that come up when we kind of start to cry, and I say the chain of events because you can ponder that, right? Especially if you're highly sensitive and you kind of just feel everything. It starts in your heart and then there's a lump on your throat, and all of a sudden, like, you may feel maybe temperature, or you may get red, and then your eyes tear up and now you're crying, right? And so holding space for your emotions means I'm not going to swallow this up and just, dab my eyes for that glistening tear and pull myself together. I might go to the bathroom and have a cry. Do you need to request a break at work? Do you need to have a date with yourself and play a very sappy, sad movie that you know is going to make you cry? That's the best, actually. And also, when you have a cold, that works really well as well. Play something that's going to make you like sob, right? And then take a very hot shower and just let it all out and walk out of there shiny and new. So there you go. And we're going to talk about that as well. And that was the third question. And of course, the affirmation for the full moon and the lunar eclipse was, I release the discomfort that is surfacing, which means you have to look at it, acknowledge it, and then release it. So again, it's a process, right? And I embrace the comfort of knowing that I am safe right here, right now. This is some of the things that I want to remember. And right now in May, on May 8th, as we are today, we have already discussed over 50 affirmations that are in the Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2023 manifestation agenda / journal. Oh my gosh, you're all like moving. There's no earthquake. You're just all on my iPad because the phone episode was not working and we started late and it was a Mercury retrograde real fiasco. So LOL, that happened earlier. So we start the week with, thank you, Curtis. We start the week with the moon in, today is not May 9th, actually. Today is May 8th with the moon in Sagittarius, and moon in Virgo and moon in Sagittarius are my two favorites to start the week. Virgo, because Virgo is very organized, and so what better mood to hop into a new week than the urge to want to organize yourself, right? Your life, and so on and so forth. And Sagittarius is also very directed. Think of the arrow, which is the symbol for it, right? And it likes to really think of the goal or be, have that optimism to look forward, to have that vision. I feel like, and Capricorn is also kind of organized as well, but in different ways. And the thing about Sagittarius is it might always be in the search for something. So if you're in a position in your life where you don't have a lot going on, or you are part of this introspection, may prompt you to really want to dig deeper. There's that search for something. If you're just not satisfied with some of the answers that are coming in or some of the things that happened in the weekend, first of all, don't hurry yourself so much, and really decide what is it that you need to honor yourself and take care of yourself and set the next step as kind of that goal. And I posted earlier on Twitter, stop thinking about what you haven't done. That's very Mercury retrograde, for you to just sit there and be like, oh my God, I have so much to do. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. And I haven't done that. And I haven't done this other thing. No. Let's think about what's next and think about what's the next step I can take and go ahead and take it. Do the thing, right? Especially, I feel like the moon in Sagittarius can be very supportive for that, because in holding the context of the emotions and holding the context of your well-being, the moon is going to want the best for you, right? And a lot is going on this week that has to do with the sun in Taurus and a ton of other planets like Mercury, it's retrograding in Taurus, and like two other planets that are all happening in Taurus. And the whole thing this week is ruled by Venus, because Venus rules Taurus and Mercury and maybe Uranus, but I don't want to, let's not put a seal on that one. But Venus is at the head of everything this week, which means in the context of the eclipse, Friday, and full moon, which means we were invited to release, let go, or really open up the door to transformation, to a shift, to a change, to a new fill in the blank, an invitation, right? It's up to you to decide how to move forward. One of the most important things to remember, not just this week, but forever, is that it is your choice. Nobody's making you do it. But one of the things that I like to remind you of, that I know I've brought up before, and Chani brought it up this week on the Chani app, is that you cannot unsee what's already been revealed. So how do you move forward denying what you already know, what you already answered in the full moon that you may have said you want to do? Are you just going to sit there and not make a plan about what's next? What's the next step for you for what you said you wanted to do? So maybe the moon in Sagittarius will be great for that. And it's going to be in Sagittarius pretty much that's it, just tonight, because by 11:30 it should be in Capricorn, and the moon in Capricorn is also going to be impacted obviously with everything else that's happening, because Capricorn is an earth sign and so is Taurus. And I wrote in my journal, Venus is the queen this week. That's right. She's going to highlight pleasure, love, relationships, leisure, and then Mercury retrograde highlights all of the communication or the miscommunication. And Uranus, or Uranus, however you want to say it, may be prompting you to take action and be all excited, or as Jessica Lanyadoo put it, it might be destabilizing. Before we go into the moon in Capricorn, something that I wanted to bring up about the eclipse is that what the eclipse brings up may still not be clear, and that's okay. And it's also, if something very clear came up around Friday, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even today, then that's great, but you're still not going to implement anything by today or by tomorrow, maybe not even by the end of the week. These are long lasting changes. This is an opportunity to really establish what you want in the long term. So throw out that 6 month long window of like vision or future visioning. What's the best case scenario? Um, you may not really want to spend that much time on what the worst case scenario could be, because really the worst case scenario is you put in a lot of work and you set up a lot of goals and you work really hard for the next 6 months and nothing happens. But how is that likely to happen? Most likely, if you're putting in the work and you're setting up a few steps, something is bound to happen. Maybe not in 6 months, but you get the gist of it, right? And so I feel like that could be the excited part that Lanyata was talking about, how these planets are affecting what's happening. And then if it's destabilizing, it could be because of that negative emotional spectrum of being in retrospect, receiving these memories or introspection that Mercury retrograde does. And then the lunar eclipse invites you to dig deep and ponder, the shadow of it all, even though it's a full moon. The full moon illuminates something. So what did it illuminate for you, and how does it relate to this emotional, energetic, I don't know, opportunity to transform or to shift? Whew, that's a lot, right? Again, it's your choice. You may feel a very deep need or call for change, and sometimes that may be really simpler than we also think. Have you just thought about, I maybe want to wake up an hour earlier than I have been waking up for the past, I don't know, 5 years? Whoa. You may think that that's a tiny little, small little detail in your head, but that's pretty big. Or maybe the change that you're being called to establish is going back to something you were doing that you stopped doing for whatever reason. And the reason may be you're holding space for your emotions, you're holding space for being a little bit too sappy, maybe you're holding space for depression, you're not seeking help, you're not communicating, very Mercury retrograde, or you're just not communicating your needs effectively, so on and so forth. You're not putting in the work, you're not answering the questions, right? And so then the stuff that comes up stirs up and boils over, and you're not comfortable. And obviously, discomfort is part of the game, or it wouldn't be in the affirmation from the full moon, which is I release the discomfort that's surfacing, which means you have to acknowledge it and look at it first before you release it, which is what I said earlier, right? I think I did say that. So, oh my goodness, the moon in Capricorn, which is going to be by tomorrow, the 9th. Strong need for being useful to society around you. So that means that for those of you that lead a more solitary, sedentary lifestyle, you may feel a little bothered when the moon is in Capricorn. So ponder those things as well. A lot of my audience and some of my clients are adults who are not in relationships. And so this is really important to acknowledge, because I feel like part of that tender mercy, you've heard me say, use this term before, part of the beautiful tender mercy that some of the tender mercies that we have discussed are not just that sometimes we have a hard week astrologically and it stirs everything up and everybody's hot and bothered and kind of lunatic, and then the next week it's more like of a trine and sextiles and more of a supportive energy, and that's great, and then it gets hard again and then it gets better, right? And up and down and up and down, and it's like life. And so I kind of forgot where I was going with that. But the moon in Capricorn may want you to be useful for society. And if you have a kind of a lonely lifestyle, then you may be kind of, in discomfort. And the tender mercy is that once the moon transitions into the next sign, then you shouldn't feel like that. But again, it is an invitation for you to ponder, how can I be more of use if this is something you're interested in? And society doesn't need to be a stranger. So ponder these things as well. Society may be your core workers or your extended family. Society doesn't have to be just the world at large. However, though, with Venus highlighting, no, I'm in next week, with Venus highlighting your values and the sun in Taurus and its conjunction to Uranus, asking you to really make a change or decide or speak up or speak now, LOL. If you know, you know. Then maybe I remember Jessica Lanyadoo calling us to, if we're going to speak up, to do it for something that we really believe in. And she's really talking about the strikes and people protesting and all of these things that are happening for pretty much civil rights in the US, and politically, the mess, all of that she likes to focus on. But I like to bring it to you and to your relationships, right? And so the moon in Capricorn hopefully will be supportive, or hopefully it aids in that clarity. And then it moves into Aquarius, and Aquarius is also one of my favorites. My son's moon is in Aquarius, excuse me. And so Aquarius, all that Aquarius wants is emotional freedom. So I love a good moon in Aquarius, because I feel like if I've been bottling things up, I will purposefully look at the moon in Aquarius on my book and say, where do I have a moment in this day where I can just sit and ponder everything that's happened between the last time I did this and now, and what do I need to do today to give myself that emotional freedom? I love that question when the moon is in Aquarius, because it brings me back to the present moment, to what's been happening in my life with the people that I check in with the people that I follow up with, and how it affects me emotionally as a highly sensitive empath, the things that I want to do, the things that I've been avoiding, the things that I'm stunted about, my own interpretation of the full moon, my own crab boiling over from the eclipse, so on and so forth, right? So the moon in Aquarius, I feel like, can be a sanctuary for your emotional freedom. What can you do when the moon is on that sign to just offer yourself that tender, loving care for emotional freedom? Emotional freedom technique. Ooh, that's a good one. That's what came to mind, right? Because of what it's called, obviously. So hopefully you're being true to your emotions and to your own thought processes. See, Mercury's in retrograde. So, what have you been observing about your thought processes? Mercury rules your thoughts. And then another planet rules your patterns, and then they come together, right? But I just love how all of this happens. And then the moon is going to be in Aquarius, I think, until the end of the week. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, that's right. By Saturday is going to be in Pisces, and Sunday it'll be in Pisces as well. And then Sunday, that's when Mercury goes direct, which is going to be so awesome because it will take all of this retrospection, all of this time that we have spent navigating the, I don't know, alleyways of our path and having random conversations with our friends about how what's happening in the present relates to things that have happened in the past, and what that means now for us, right? All of that is going to really kind of shift and move forward. And that was my attempt at doing like a shift car and then, launching forward. And the moon in Pisces is another one of my favorites. So thank you, Curtis. The moon in Pisces is another one of my favorites. We've talked about this before as well. Pisces is the sign of divination. It is considered one of the most spirituals, if not the most spiritual one of all of the zodiac. And so I love when the moon is in Pisces because I really ponder my relationship with spirit. How am I communicating? How am I honoring that as well? So it's like all of these questions about how am I honoring my emotions and the depth of my desires and my feelings? How am I honoring the wisdom of transformation? You know, how am I handling the self-talk, or how am I maneuvering the communication slash miscommunication that is currently happening in my life? A lot of us tend to answer those questions and really boil it down to spirit and our relationship with spirit, right? And so you may want to ponder, um, I feel like Saturday and Sunday, with Mercury going direct on Sunday, and then the moon starts the week next week with Aries, and then Venus ruling over all of it and deciding, not deciding, but kind of opening things up for you to, the word that keeps coming to mind is honor, because of your values and all the things that Venus brings up, the energy of receiving as well, right? Like the moon is also waning, and there is a search. We talked about that because the moon is in Sagittarius, right? And the book talks about the fact that what you're searching is within. We also have affirmations for this week, but with Venus and Mercury going direct next Sunday, what are the boundaries that you can ponder this week to really get these things going, these realizations, these next steps, these action steps, these goals that you're setting up for yourself for the next week, or for the next month, or for the next 3 months, or for the rest of the year? It's up to you to think big. We're not having a manifesting conversation because that's in the new moon. So that would be next week. And we also I think we don't have any more eclipses until October. So hopefully things next week are a little bit more, I don't know, gentle, complimentary. I like that word. I come from hospitality industry, so the word complimentary is like, oh yeah, I would love that, right? Think of the lobby and somebody mentioning that. Oh yeah, that's complimentary, right? I want it. I got it. Thank you so much. So hopefully next week will be like that, but this week there's a lot happening, and the affirmations for the week are not only that what I'm searching is within, I added that little bit there, but I'm hopeful and loving the process, and I am filled with gladness, And one of the things that this week will invite us to do is to open to receive, and that wisdom and that invitation to decide what to do, so on and so forth. All of that will play a part with all of these moons. One of the things that also I wanted to bring up, because it's important to have these check-ins ever so often, is what is going well, which is a great question that we can ask every day. And then if you know Cecilia Grace, or if you follow her here on other apps, right? She's the queen of kudos. Kudos to you. And a lot of us had never ever given ourselves kudos. I didn't even know what it was until we met Cecilia Grace and her show on the Wisdom app. And every single day you can pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, however minutes she allows you, to give yourself or somebody else kudos for something that they're doing well. So the question of that I want to propose is not what's going well, but what is not going well. Blink, blink. Crickets. What is something that has come up for you in the past weekend with the full moon and the eclipse that you're like really done with, or really uncomfortable with, or really kind of invited, prompted deep down to make a change about? Because you could be doing better. And it's not about doing better, like 100% better tomorrow. It's about doing just a little bit better tomorrow than you did today. And that really always starts with taking one step. So, what is the one step that you need to take? Wow. Just wow. I want to invite whoever wants to come up to speak, because I just said a lot. And with this new format, I have no idea how to invite you all. So this is really interesting, really interesting. But you can also request the mic. Oh, there you go. So a few of you have recently arrived. So let's see who wants to come up. All right. And if not, we'll go straight into what's the word? The meditation. I'm excited for a lot of things that are coming up. I'm excited for some partnerships and collaborations. And Curtis has just joined us. Welcome, Curtis. How are you doing? Good evening. Good moon day to you.
Good.
Yes. So you're
Yeah.
muted, and
No.
can you?
There we
Oh,
go.
there you are. Now
Yeah.
you're
No.
unmuted.
This new format is interesting.
I know, right?
Yeah. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're gonna. I'm looking at things that you have spoken about here tonight, and it was organization, and the full moon, and then going through the weekend, and then Venus coming up. It's interesting to me. I've enjoyed this very much, and let me see here. I have to turn my light on. So for me, it's just been simply taking care of responsibilities with taking care of responsibilities. Where you're searching for is within, and I totally see that. Yesterday, I wanted to have a little bit of fun because I knew that this journey that I'm going on is going to be a small magical process, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know everybody is. So I'm hopeful and loving the process. I am filled with gladness. Affirmations.
Yay. Thank you so much, Curtis.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you
Of
for having
course.
me. And then Let's see. I gotta leave the stage. How do I do that? Let me click on this button. Or you can just. Oh wait, I got it.
All right, thank you. So Adam is here. Hello, Adam. How are you doing? Happy Moon Day to you. Your dog's sitting, the cutest dog on the planet. And it's still daytime for you? What?
It is.
Wow, that's amazing. I just cannot fathom that because it's pitch black over here.
I know, it's so funny. It's awesome. I love it. So,
Yeah.
how are you?
I am doing wonderful. How are you? And thank you for being the first one in the room. What a fiasco getting into this episode today. Everybody, I had a true Mercury retrograde episode right before this episode space. Adam is my co-host in Spaces on Twitter, so that's where that's coming from. Um, First, the episode was not scheduled, even though I scheduled it. Then it wouldn't let me schedule it. Then it wouldn't let me start it once I scheduled it. And so then I decided to use the iPad instead of the phone. And there he is. There's the cutie
There he
that
is.
your pet's sitting.
There he is.
That's cute.
Ace is hanging out.
Yes. So Adam was the first one in the room when I finally got to start at like 10:07 or something like that. So thank you for that, Adam. How are you doing and how does this resonate?
Well, yeah, I was a little scatterbrained over the last weekend or whatever, but today we kind of pulled things together and got it in order. So I'm actually pretty happy how I was able to, slow things down. And I just had a to-do list today, and I just took care of each little thing, and we're back on track.
Yay.
Uh-huh.
And another thing that I wanted to bring up is that, or maybe I did earlier, so as a reminder, is that some of the things that are coming up after the eclipses are not meant for you to really figure out right away. So to release the pressure of having to really figure this out right now is a good thing if you feel like this pressure is making you feel uncomfortable. I feel like these karmic cycles, which is what I said earlier, these karmic cycles may not necessarily be a negative thing or something to completely avoid or just hate, but to use to your advantage. And maybe this cycle around, it's not the moment to tackle something. You'll get another opportunity to do it, or later on. And I feel like that's a tender mercy too. It's like, I'm not ready right now. Okay, later on we'll do this again.
Yeah, that's very true. There's actually, I shared one with you earlier through text, and then there's also a lot of other lessons that are coming through, like same lessons, same cycles, but just different tests here and there. But I'm prepared for it.
Right. Well, the test, I love how you said that because the test is different every time because you're different.
Mm-hmm.
So is it really a karmic cycle with the same test, or is it different? Is it testing you in a different wavelength? It's obviously a different wavelength, so the lesson may be different altogether.
Great point. I love it.
Well, thank you so much, Adam. Thank you for
Awesome.
being here. I love you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful
Okay.
week.
See you.
Yes. All right. So thank you everybody so much. I love getting to speak with you all and some of the great conversations that we are having on Instagram. Some of you left comments about the inner child conversation that we had last week, and that was great. So let me check the chat. Thank you so much for all of the love and for being here. So we have 10 minutes left. Let's go ahead and do this meditation. Now, instead of using the iPad, we're using the phone. So get your Brain FM, go over to meditate and pick unguided, and it will open up and you can change the time up to, I don't know, 8 hours for sleep. Actually, the sleep cycle can last up to 11 hours. I love it so much. And here we have some chimes and bowls, and sit back and relax and let's do this. And hopefully technology will reset itself once Mercury goes back to not being retrograde, even though we'll be retrograde for a few days after, and then it'll be on its way. But I hope that we all have a wonderful week. So be on the ground. Focus your attention on your normal breathing, nice and slow. And with me, let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Long, deep breath. Feel your chest open up as you breathe in and fill your lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it out nice and slow through your mouth. Long breath out all the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again, nice and slow through your nose. Long, deep breath. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. Long, extended, nice and slow. Long breath out till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And relax. And as you relax and settle into this moment, I want you to ponder that we are all scattered but walking through a lovely garden filled with flowers and colors. And there's bugs buzzing around, but they don't hurt or bite or sting. And the light of day feels so nice and warm. And this place is so colorful, so vibrant, that you see children prancing around, dancing around, skipping around. Everybody seems to be in such a great and lovely mood. And it's such a beautiful and pleasurable place. And nothing in the world could disturb this moment in this garden where everything is so beautiful. And I want you to really ponder this moment and think about every moment in the week where you may feel discomfort or shame or anger or any negative feeling, emotion, negative energy. And bring yourself back to this garden filled with flowers and filled with lovely people having a lovely, jolly time. And every single step of the way, reminding yourself that you are safe and loved and held in this moment. With me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Long, long, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. Let it out through your mouth. Long breath out all the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Deep, nice, deep, long, deep breath all the way. Hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax. And settle into this moment. And remember that what you are searching for is within you. It's already there. And ponder that you are hopeful, loving this process, and filled with gladness in the process. Remember these affirmations throughout the week and see how they sit with you through the thoughts that come. And remember to bring yourself back to that garden with flowers. What are your favorite flowers? Are there daisies or all these edible, colorful weeds like snapdragons, which are not weeds but edible? Or are there mushrooms and fairy rings in this garden that you're imagining? What's your favorite flower? For me, I love peonies and they don't grow in Florida. So when I go into a garden in my head, there's definitely peonies. There's the fragrance in the air. I love gardenias, and they also smell so lovely, and the air around them is so beautiful. But we don't have a gardenia bush because they attract bees, a lot of them, and I have a child. So that's some of the little tiny sacrifices that we don't even think about. And now I'm forgot we were meditating. So that's funny. I apologize for that. But anyway, thank you all so much. Let's bring your attention to your present moment and bring your awareness to your body. And let's go ahead and, have a great week and decidedly take care of whatever we need in order to continue moving forward and continue to hold space for all the epic things that we want to do and continue to create. Everyone in this room is creating epic things. That's right. Ow! Everyone in this room is creating epic things. Every single one of you texting me back, asking me things, and really figuring this journey out that we are all following together with the Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace Manifestation Agenda Journal. Look at this. Look at all these pages from the last 5 months, and all of the work that we are trying to connect about has been so beautiful, such a privilege and an honor to do this with you all. So thank you again for being here. I love you. We apologize. And when I say we, I mean me, myself, and I. Mercury retrograde took over and we started just a few minutes late. And I'm just so grateful that, we were able to cover so much. And then next week is a new moon episode, and we're going to have the new moon, which is in Taurus. Oh my gosh. So get ready, y'all, because Taurus is an earth sign, and we're definitely going to plant seeds and get our hands filthy dirty with dirt. I'm excited for that meditation, and I will see you all next week. Bye, everybody. So we're just waiting for the Wade bot because this is, taking its time.